Hello everybody, I've already talked about the anime that originally came out in Japan, and if you haven't seen that video, you can see it by clicking the annotation that I hopefully remember to add, but now it is time to talk about the dubbed anime that came out in 2013. The reason this list is shorter this year, being a top 5 instead of a top 10, is because there weren't a lot of dubbed anime that came out this year, and I watched, and there's only like 11 on my list of consideration. And while that technically is enough to make a top 10, the cutoff would be a lot lower and the anime on the list wouldn't be as good. So I think it's better this way. Quick review of the rules before we start. The English dub of the anime has to have come out in 2013, either on DVD, Blu-ray, TV, or that weird streaming thing that Viz is doing. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So without further ado, here's my top 5 English dubbed anime of 2013. Number 5, Blood Sea plus the movie The Last Ark, because they're like basically the same thing. Anyway, this anime stars Saya doing mostly normal and boring things other than killing monsters in her free time. And I'm not gonna lie to you, this show starts off really boring, but then people start getting brutally murdered, the main bad guy gets revealed, and everything gets turned on its head. So if you can get past the boring start, I think the second half and the movie that concludes the series is really good with neat plot and action scenes. Although the movie does introduce a lot of characters and plot points, but it's a long movie and all the other characters and plot points are dead, so I guess it's cool. Number 4, A Certain Scientific Railgun Season 1. So last year I dissed the Index dub, but after watching through all of it and the Railgun dub, it's actually pretty good. I think I was just expecting too much because the Index Railgun series is one of my favorites. And I think I was just wanting more than just a Funimation dub. I have nothing wrong with them, but the dubs that they make can be a little bit lazy sometimes. But as for the show itself, it's very good, obviously, and one of the first subtitled anime I ever watched all the way back in 2009, and when I found out that you can watch anime online. So it's very special to me in that way. Aren't the powers of the internet amazing? Number 3, Batum, with 3 O's, kind of weird. So, Batum came out in 2012, and at first I skipped it because it seemed really similar to Sword Art Online, which was popular at the time, but when it got dubbed this past year and my friend Azur had recommended it to me, I decided to give it a try because Azur's recommendations are never wrong. So, the story starts out with this guy who is addicted to this online multiplayer game where the objective is to kill the other players using only bombs, but then one day he wakes up on an island where he finds out that he's forced into a contest with the same rules as the game. I like this anime because it's of the well thought out action scenes and the character development, and the fact that it's not that similar to Sword Art Online like I originally thought. The only thing I don't like about this anime is the cop-out ending. It's kind of just like, eh. Number 2, Kami-sama Dolls. This is a series that I think does not get enough recognition and is very underrated. The show starts out with main character Kyohei moving to a city to get away and forget about the terrible things that happened in his past. But then someone from his past comes to town and starts murdering people with his robot, or Kami-sama doll. So then Kyohei and his little sister have to team up and use their own robot to stop him. I like this anime for 2 major reasons, the backstory and the robots themselves. During the starting episode, you're wondering what happened to make Kyohei want to leave his hometown and move far away, and they give you little bits of information here and there until a really good episode where they finally give you the whole story. The robots are also really cool with their abilities they have and how they are made and controlled, and I think they have good reasons for why they exist and how they work. It's also dubbed by Sentai Filmworks, and they make some of my favorite dubs, so that's another positive. Before we move on, let's do some quick shoutouts to some anime that didn't quite make it on the list, such as Battle Girls Time Paradox, Horizon in the Middle of Nowhere Season 2, Shining Hearts, and Campione, which are all very good in their own right. But let's move on to number 1. Ooh, super scary and foreboding. Not that scary, it's exciting. You should be excited. Number 1, Guilty Crown. This is another Azur recommendation, just FYI. But anyway, this anime takes place in a semi-post-apocalyptic world where the government is killing people because they think they might have a terrible disease. Meanwhile, main character Shu gets a mysterious power from a girl named Inori and is forced to fight in a group to stop the government from killing people. One of the things I like about Guilty Crown is Shu's power. His power is that he can manifest a weapon reflecting someone's heart or soul, so it's interesting to see what everyone's weapon is and why. The other thing I like about this anime is the second half where it goes full apocalyptic and Shu and his classmates get cut off from the rest of the world and they have to work together to get supplies and fight the robots that the government sends to kill them every once in a while, because they're just kind of assholes like that. She also deals with a lot of things when he becomes leader and tries to keep everyone alive, like the choice between being a kind leader that everyone loves, but people die sometimes, or being a strict leader that everyone hates, but there's a lower death rate. Speaking of death, that is something the anime does really well, because people do die, and it is very sad. It also kind of reminds me of the show Walking Dead in that aspect. But, in short, it is a very good anime with a good dub. I also really like the ending. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, okay? Shh. That's the end, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the list, and sorry for the shorter list, but maybe this shorter format works better. Whatever, I have a year to think about it. But I'm very looking forward to the anime coming out this year. I would pull out a list and read some, but I'm lazy, so... If you liked this video, tell me what part you liked most, and make sure to see the other list video if you haven't. And see you all later.